When I started this channel, it was meant as an educational tool. Pretty much just showing you guys the mistakes that I've made and some of the wins that I've had. And just to put it out there so that you guys can see what to possibly do and possibly not do that I've done, and just make your own educated decisions. Something maybe that you haven't seen, and just put something out there that you may not know about the hobby. I can't understand how some of these channels sometimes, like, they'll go out and look, to me, these channels, they should be educational tools. It's either that or maybe you just showing off your books. But that's not what my channel is supposed to be like. You know, I don't want to just, throw this in your face and say, hey, I got this and you don't. No, it's meant as educational. So like when somebody puts something out and says, hey, I bought a collection. Oh, but I can't tell you how much I paid. I mean, what are you supposed to learn from it? Like, okay, so you're just showing off what you've done. That one thing that I like about Mr. Very Gary Comics is he always tells you how much he paid, and he shows you the books, man, and he shows you, sometimes he takes you through the journey. Something you can learn. You can learn both ways, as being a seller or being a buyer. And he's pretty much showing it to you. I like that about him. Now, does he get great deals? Oh, my goodness gracious. I've told my kids, listen, a redhead comes, after I die, a redhead comes knocking on the door, you pretty much slam that door on his face. But lately, Mr. Very Gary has gotten, these collectors are starting to get savvy now, Deals are definitely fairer. Now, Bry's Comics, on the other hand, that's probably a guy that I would tell my kids, hey, you guys want to get rid of all my collection, maybe you can go to Bry's, because Bry is a not that Very Gary isn't, okay, but Bry, he could have taken advantage of a ton of people, and he has not. And matter of fact, he's helped them out, people that don't really even know what they have. All right. Educate your kids. If you're planning on keeping some of your books, educate them on what you're going to do, or what they should do, I should say, in the case that something happens to you and you leave them a collection, a meaningful collection, or honestly anything, even if stocks, or you have to let them know what they have, real estate, and how much it's worth, and how they can go about selling it or profiting off of it, or if it's stocks and you're getting dividends, collecting, how you collect on the dividends and pay taxes on it, all that. Okay, all right, let's get to the video. Canteen Kate number 3. Listen, I bought these next 2 books I'm going to show you guys. I bought them both off of ComicLink. I bought them with the intention to have them pressed, cleaned, and regraded, and I thought maybe both of them can go up in grade. However, sometimes once you have the book in your hand, maybe you might make up your mind and say, hey, you know what, can't possibly get a better grade than that, Case in point. Now, I actually had the paperwork already ready for vintage. It was under the old pricing, so CCS or CGC was going to crack it, press it, regrade it, and it was going to cost me $115 just for one book, Canteen Kate, under the $400 value tier. This is how much I paid for the book. I bought this this January. I bought it for $700 off of ComicLink. But see the fees that ComicLink has, ComicLink has a 3%, much like my comic shop does. However, you're paying their shipping price. So my comic book shop, they let you choose your own shipping, and it could be less than that. And of course, taxes are also paid on shipping as well. So the book itself ended up costing me $806.08. I would have been adding $115 to that, so this book would have cost me $921 when all was said and done. However, and this is how things change. Once you put a magnifying glass to the book, you start seeing that maybe 6.0 is probably about the best that this book can get, and maybe it's not worth the chance. I mean, can that get cleaned out? It is crud. There are people that can clean that out. That staple, I can't tell if that's rusted or maybe not. It does look like it might have a little bit of moisture damage. Book is still in beautiful condition though, but see that, I figured in the pictures you don't see the crud the way that you're seeing it. Like right now, I'm thinking that I thought maybe it could be cleaned off. Again, there are people that can clean that off, but then if you send it to them, then you are taking the chance of this book coming back much lower grade if they damage it. At least if CCS or CGC damages it, maybe you can have a claim with them. That's never happened to me, by the way. But in my opinion, I think this is a pretty fair grade, and it probably won't. Remember, this is a book from 1952, so they grade these books based on the age of the book. Yes, you've seen 6.0 moderns that don't have this type of damage. Like, they look pretty much like 9.0 sometimes that I have. I don't understand how they could be 6.0s, but I've shown them in this channel. But yeah, I just don't think that this book can get a better grade than that, and I don't want to take the chance that it's going to get damaged just for it to look a little bit better. So this book was meant as a book that's going to go into my PC, and it's going to be in my PC, and it will remain in my PC. I mean, unless I can get a better graded book or a better looking book. However, the highest grade in this Canteen Kate number 3 is an 8.0. That's the highest grade in existence. 6.0, it's not bad. I mean, I'll take it. It's a Matt Baker book. It's a book that was used in Pop. It actually tells you right here. Now, Pop, what is Pop? Everybody's heard of SOTI, S-O-T-I, which is Seduction of the Innocent, right? Pop is similar. It's Parade of Pleasure. It was a book written by Jeffrey Wagner, and it actually was printed on the same year, 1954, and it pretty much talked about, unlike SOTI, Seduction of the Innocent, that concentrated on comic books, Pop, Parade of Pleasure, concentrated on media. I'm going to say media, and I say that because, like, when you say like media nowadays, it's more like people automatically think social media. But back then, there was no TikTok that you can criticize like the way people criticize now. I criticize TikTok. TikTok's not allowed in certain countries, especially the country it was made in. It's not allowed there, but it is, in my opinion, poisoning our kids today. Maybe that's the same stance that Jeffrey Wagner took with certain media back then, including comics. Canteen Kate was depicted in page 75 of Parade of Pleasure, And yeah, it was one of his arguments of the stuff that's being put out there for children that it's probably not, you know, kid friendly. All right, see the back. That's why I'm not getting it. I decided that I'm not even gonna send it into CCS and spend that extra $115, because I just don't think it's gonna come back better looking. I don't think it's gonna come back a better grade, and I'm gonna take the chance. You know, I would have been taking the chance that something happens to it also. So I'm just keeping it. It's going in my collection. It's still a beautiful book. And yeah, I have my Matt Baker book in my collection. More to come, hopefully. Here's the big purchase that I made. Believe me when I tell you, this is not the first time, nor will it be the last time that you see this cover on the Spec Collector channel. I've graded this book just in the time that I've been in YouTube. Probably, I don't know how many times have you guys seen me grade this? Maybe 5-6 times. I've actually sent this book out to CGC possibly 25 times, maybe. I would say 25 of those books that you see out there in the census have been graded by the Spec Collector over the years, including the infancy of CGC some 20 years or more than 20 years ago. Here's another one. This one is my biggest purchase to date. I haven't paid this type of price for this book ever, and I just did. And it's not a 9.8. This, my dear friends, is a 9.6. Now notice that this is an older label, meaning that whenever you see a label like this, people weren't pressing during that time. They just were not. This book has not been pressed. What I like about this book, and I bought this from ComicLink, is that this is a double cover. Now, there's not too many 9.8s in the census of 238 anyway. Now, I'm saying not too many for a modern key. Not talking about, you know, bronze key. I'm talking for a modern key. It's still considered modern, you know, Copper Age, 1983, modern tier. But I just don't think that in any, including the jeweler's variant, I haven't seen. This is the only double cover that I've seen. Now, I'm sure there's more, but these are super rare, man. And in this economy, the fact that I was able to pay the price that I paid for this, I actually paid, in my opinion, the highest price for a 9.6 that's ever been paid. Obviously not for a double cover, because there's not going to be really data on that, I don't believe. If you guys find it, please let me know. This is the receipt for it from ComicLink. I paid $1,400 for it, but it's never what you pay for it. It's what it ends up being, like after the fees. So ComicLink charges you 3%. That's $42. Then their shipping and handling, which is $40, and then look at that whopping tax, $98, comes out to $1,580, 18 cents for this baby here. Now, of course, my intention was to send it in and get it regraded, get it pressed. The trick, though, is when it's this high grade and it's this important, what do you want to do? You want to leave it on CGC's, in CGC's hands. You cannot break a book like this out and press it yourself. I mean, you're taking the chance. There are guys out there that are that good, right, that can get better grades, but I don't trust it, and I cannot. I have to send this to CCS and probably pay, well, definitely pay the extra fees for them, because I don't want this to come back at a lower grade. Now, the first cover is a 9.4. The interior cover is a 9.6, and that's the way the double covers work. Whichever one gets the highest grade, that's what gets the grade on the face of the case. So all I need, man, I mean, it's a big chance, all right? I need one of these covers, even the interior cover, to come back as a 9.8. And this will be a mega home run. Even if it doesn't, even if it stays 9.4, 9.6, I feel that I ended up making a really good buy on this. This is for the PC. This is not to sell it. You know, this will be, I already have 2 9.8s on this. I had 3. I sold 1 because, what do I say always? I say feed the hobby, and I had to feed the hobby because, you know, you have fees, man. You have, this is expensive to get this stuff graded, to buy it, you know, so you have to feed the hobby. And I did feed the hobby, and I sold one of my 9.8s a year and a half to 2 years ago to pay for the bills. Now, this book is all of a 9.6 in my opinion, and I do have a shot at getting a 9.8, I think, really well, unlike the Canteen Kate, which I don't think can get higher than a 6.0. This is what I'm going to end up paying, okay? It's going in the standard tier, which is $1,000, even though I paid more. But CGC doesn't know that. CGC doesn't know that I paid more. And I just don't think, man, it's not really freaking fair. Think about it. All they're doing is grading the freaking book, but they want a VIG. They want a VIG on the grading, you know? Yo, for what? All you're doing is just putting a grade on it. I put a standard tier is $1,000. 238 9.6 goes for less than that. Probably goes between $600 to $700, I'm assuming. So $1,000 tier, I figured that's good enough, right, for CGC fees. Which, by the way, it ain't cheap, man. $167 to get one book graded. By the way, when ComicLink sent me this book, it came cracked. See that right there? Actually came cracked on the corner. I didn't make a fuss about it because I knew I was going to get it pressed, regraded, pressed and regraded. So I knew I was going to do that. So I didn't make a big deal out of it. But yeah, make sure you inspect your books in case you're going to keep it, in case you're going to keep that case or whatever. Then you would have had to, I would have had to put a let them know and file a claim. But anyway, this video is a little different because next you're going to see when it comes in. I'm sending these out this week, and I'll see you guys when it comes back in. More than a month later, and it's back. I know the results. For transparency, it was supposed to be $167 to get this CPR'd, but CGC changed the tier. So I sent it a standard tier, but I guess it must have arrived a little bit late. So they changed it to high value tier. So it ended up costing me $212. So it's a full, like $50 more, you could say, a little less than $50 All right, but $212 to get it CPR'd. The book cost $15.80 and 18 cents plus the $212. I put $10 shipping to CGC. That's adjusted from. I sent it with another submission. Total is $1,802, and I have a friend. Yes, I have a friend. All right, let's open this baby up. Say hello to Wyatt. Wyatt, what's up, my buddy? Growing up reading Spider-Man, I was fascinated by some of the villains that came later on. Yeah, sure, I did like Dr. Octopus and I liked the Green Goblin, but I wasn't fascinated by those guys. Green Goblin is one-dimensional. Dr. Octopus, in the beginning he started out like really good. If you ever read the story of Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man right in the 70s, great storyline. That kind of matched his earlier stuff, but then after that, yeah, his stuff really hasn't been compelling enough. When Roger Stern came up with the Hobgoblin, I was so much into. He became my favorite villain at that time. He is now my second favorite villain, next to Venom. And go and figure that 238 has become a classic cover. One of my favorite covers of Spider-Man of all time. One of everybody's favorite covers of all time. Amazing Spider-Man 238, 300. You can count 252 in there now, right? But you got to put 238 and 300 way above that. Spider-Man has some great covers, man. But iconic, this is the definition of that. In this economy, I took advantage of the fact that I have less bidders. A double cover, and I had a shot. I had a shot at a 9.8. Obviously, I couldn't see what the second cover looked like, but that was where I thought I had the better shot at it. Yeah. CCS. First cover stayed a 9.4. Second cover got the 9.8. This is now my third 9.8. Go figure, it is CCS that's gotten me the 9.8s. I have never received, out of all the 238s that I have sent in, without getting pressed, I've never received a 9.8. CCS has actually gotten me 4 9.8s, but I sold one. So I have 2 in just regular cover 9.8s, and they're both directs. And now I have a double cover, the rarest that you can possibly get. Man, this automatically becomes a top, man, I gotta say, it's gotta be like a top 5 book in my collection. I don't know what it would be worth, but the double covers go for a hefty premium over the regular one, because there's so less of them. Even if it had stayed at a 9.4 and a 9.6, I think I would just taking the chance was worth it. I would have still been happy with it regardless. For a total of $1,802 total, I would have still been happy with it. 9.8 though, ecstatic. Even the Canadian price variant, or the Mark Jewelers, I gotta think that there's definitely more Canadian price variants in 9.8s than there are double covers, because I haven't seen a double cover yet besides this one. That doesn't mean that there aren't any. I'm pretty sure maybe a guy like Wilbert can find something out there. Maybe Spiffy can find something out there of when was the last time one of these have sold. But I don't even know what this would sell for nowadays. Not that I'm going to sell it, because this goes in the PC of the Spec Collector. And yeah, I just wanted to share it with you guys. I have one more big book to go to show that but that's for another day, that I purchased. That one's not getting pressed though. Great villains, man. Great villains. Unfortunately for the Hobgoblin, Roger Stern was the guy that really wrote him well. Even, you know what? Even afterwards, though, there's certain guys that did justice to him, but his story, his character got kind of dragged around for a while. But this first, I encourage you guys, if you see the omnibus of Roger Stern, pick it up for Amazing Spider-Man. Probably the best storytelling in Amazing Spider-Man ever, in my opinion. Anyway, ecstatic CCS, tremendous job. My success with CCS has not been the most stellar. Okay, I'm probably around less than 20%, or right around 20% of success with CCS, mostly because of all the failures that I had with the Blue Marvels. By the way, Blue Marvel, tremendous bargain nowadays, especially for those 9.8s. But yeah, I failed with how many 9.6s? Like 29 6s that I sent to CCS. Not one got the 9.8 bump, not even one. Also, Jimmy Olsen 134s and New Gods, sent a couple 9.6s, and the Jimmy Olsens, yeah, never got a bump on any one of them. So it can be very expensive, because, you know, think about it. This would have been $212, and if it came back the same grade, it's a risk. It's a risk. You know, it's a calculated risk on my part because of what the label was. The 9.6 I knew wasn't pressed, so it's a calculated risk. And I thought that maybe even the front cover can at least get the 9.6, but it didn't. The front cover did get the 9.4. It still looks great though. Still looks great, that 9.4 cover. I think you guys can agree that that cover, I mean, how it stays a 9.4, but hey, listen, how am I going to complain? My dudes, thank you for sticking around. I'll try to make videos like this more often, alright, where I show the entire process. You will not see this book up for sale, or the other 2 9.8s that I have. It's one of my favorite books in my collection. You collect what you love, they say. Yes, I do collect what I love. I'll take this book over most Golden Age books that I could see, or even horror books, only because of my childhood and what this book meant to me, really, you know, back then. Later, my dudes.